JFD, just fair and direct.
Okay, hello and good morning everyone. Welcome to JFD Traders Espresso with me, Darius Anucauskas. Today is the 10th of June 2021. So yep, welcome everyone. Welcome to this Thursday's morning session where we're going to have a very quick look at the markets, a few of the charts, the usual stuff. But before we do that, as always, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimer. So, the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation, should not be considered as such, and does not in any way constitute an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. As always, I'll give you a few seconds to read the rest and we can continue. Okay, so now then guys, also just before we jump into the charts, as always, quick mentioning of our JFD YouTube channel, to which you can always subscribe to in order not to miss any of our upcoming videos, and of course our JFD Bank website, and specifically our JFD research page, which we also update on a daily basis. So yes, check us out here on jfdbank.com and click on the research tab right there on the top. So now then, I can see in I can see in the chat room already, like, there are people who are saying good morning. So yep, good morning Eric and good morning Evu. So I hope you're having a wonderful start of the day. So yep, good morning to everybody else, of course, who's watching and tuning in. So yeah, guys, just let's now jump into the charts. Now the first one I want to pick up here is Nikkei 225, and yep, I mean, to be honest, still the same unclear situation here on Nikkei. We're still kind of stuck here below these two lines, the upside one and the downside one. So in a way, I mean, we could say maybe there's still some negativity around here, at least in the near-term outlook, but we are still trading above all of the EMAs. So the 21-day EMA is doing its job and providing good support. So basically we cannot really do much here, and just we need to kind of play the waiting game. So previous levels are still valid, and unless we could, for example, start for the upside, for example, we could look at the this level right here. Let me just grab this line. Basically, the current highest point of June, near the 29,241. So this is where kind of lowering my this potential breakout level. But still, don't get me wrong. I mean, I will be very, very careful near this 29,519 territory right here, which is kind of my preference in order to consider kind of the upside. So basically, long story short, for now, if we want to go for the upside, well, at least a push above the 29,241 territory would be needed. But given that we're closer to this barrier, this hurdle, the 28,711, of course, this keeps this the downside scenario still valid. Hong Kong's Hang Seng, also not much activity, to be honest, but we are still kind of stuck here in this little range, I would say, between the 28,615 and the 29,004 territory right here. So yep, we're still observing the price action here and waiting for a clear breakthrough one of these levels in order to consider the next short-term directional move. But even with that, I mean, it's a little bit unclear. So for example, if we break through the 29,004 territory, yes, we will go higher, but we might get a hold up somewhere near this 29,490 zone. For the downside, if we drop below this 28,615 territory, yes, we could consider a bit of a move lower, but it might get a hold up somewhere in around here, near this downside line, near the 28,326 territory, or this 28,195. So DAX has drifted lower yesterday, but this is where it's interesting because we fell below this upside line. I talked about this one yesterday in the morning. This upside line is taken from the low the 27th of May, but as you can see, we've drifted back up. We've pushed back above this upside line. So in a way, I would say that the upside we're not really done with the upside yet. So as long as the price stays above these upside lines here, even if it breaks this shorter term one, there is still a chance for the bulls to step in near this one, near the upside line, which is taken from the low the 13th of May. Around here, we also have the 21-day EMA, which, and all this, if all this provides good support, then yes, a nice rebound here could be possible. But at the moment, guys, we just go from what we have. So yes, the cash index is currently trading at around 15,600 territory, so slightly above yesterday's close. But not as much higher, let's say, as this barrier, the 15,657 that I spoke about previously. So yep, let's see if this scenario here that I've drawn in the beginning of this week will work out. If it does, and if this upside line gets broken, then, well, keep your eyes on this upside line right here, taken from the low the 13th of May. DXY, the dollar index, is trying to make its way higher, and look at this beautiful rebound from this upside line. So basically, this scenario seems to be working out so far. The one that I talked about in the beginning of this week, basically, where I said that in a way, even if we drift a little bit lower here, still there is a chance for the bulls to step in somewhere near this upside line. And yep, as you can see, yesterday we had a drop, we tested the upside line, and now we're seeing a nice rebound. And yep, once again we're coming back to this 90.23 territory, to this 21-day EMA as well. And yep, the big question here is now, can we see a further move north? So let's see how that's going to play out. But for now, everything's looking quite nice here and positive. But for that, we need to see that daily candle staying above the 90.23 territory and above this 21-day EMA. Now, gold, jumping into gold, and yeah, drifting lower a little bit. So far, this little downside line, the one that I mentioned in the beginning of this week, is kind of playing out nicely. So basically, for now, I would say that this downside line, taken from the high of the 1st of June, is still the one to watch. So, and also what I said to you yesterday, that if yesterday and the day before yesterday, that if we see a daily candle staying below this 1890 territory, then we'll consider a further move lower. And this is what's happening exactly right now. So we're seeing a further move lower, and we're seeing a test of that. We saw already a test of that 1882 territory. Now the big question here is, can we see a further move lower? So that's why we always go step by step here. And now, in order to consider a further larger correction to the downside, and the reason why I'm saying correction, because we are still trading above this upside line taken from the low the 31st of March. And yep, if we see a drop below that 1882 territory, and we see the daily candle staying below it as well, then, well, I mean, we could see a possible test of initially of the 21-day EMA, and then potentially of this upside support line. So let's see how that's going to play out, guys. But if this 1882 territory continues to provide support, then, well, maybe we could be due for a break above this downside line. But again, let's wait until that happens. WTI Oil, very quickly here. So yep, drifting a little bit lower. So after we managed to reach this 70.54 territory, I mean, I talked about this level already last week, and look at this perfect hit of that area. And yep, that's kind of great news, I would say. So we managed to reach our goal. Now the big question here is, can we see a bit of a corrective move lower? Now, even if we do see that corrective move lower, still I'll be very careful near the highest point of March, near the 68 territory right here, approximately around here, because it might do the trick, and it might provide support together with maybe the 21-day EMA, depending on how long, let's say, the decline, how long it would take to see that decline. So yeah, that's my kind of scenario for now. I'm kind of leaning a little bit more towards the downside, I would say. But if by any chance the commodity drifts through this 70.54-55 territory and stays above it, then yep, this is where it could become interesting for more buyers. But at the moment, guys, I think that there could be a bit of a corrective move lower. However, guys, anything can happen here. I mean, if by any chance, for example, DXY fails to move above this barrier and struggles to move above this barrier, then, and let's say declines heavily to the downside, then yep, I mean, of course, WTI oil could reverse sharply to the upside and make its way higher. So for now, what I'm looking at here is I'm considering a scenario where we could see maybe a bit of a corrective move lower here, but it's, in a way, we could still we still could have a bit of upside left later on. But like I said, for now, let's go slowly on this one, and let's see if we can actually reach that 68 territory. Now, jumping into Ripple very quickly here. So, yep, we're still kind of stuck here, and we're still stuck above the 0.7910 zone, and we're stuck below this little short-term downside resistance line taken from the high of the 20th of May. Now, we've climbed higher here. We moved back above this 0.8960 territory right here, but to be honest, it's not really valid that much. I mean, or let's say significant, because yeah, we kind of violated again. So it's so yeah, for now, let's say, I mean, we're just gonna stay here and remain a little bit on the neutral side, I would say. Although, don't get me wrong, I mean, although we could be seeing here a possible descending triangle, and according to all the TA rules, of course, these patterns tend to break to the downside. But even if it does, then still, don't get me wrong, I mean, even if it drops lower here, we might see a hold up somewhere near this upside line right here, taken from the low the 29th of December of 2020. For the upside, well, as I said before, I need to see a clear move above this barrier, above the 1.0606 territory, in order to get comfortable with higher levels. Litecoin is, yeah, it's also stuck below this downside line, but also remains somewhere above this 144.10 territory, which somehow is doing its job and providing good support. Now, we'll keep an eye on this. So, of course, the same story as with Ripple. Also, we need to see a break. If you want to aim for some higher levels, we need to see a break through this downside line first, and then I'll keep an eye on this little area right here, the current highest point of June, near the 197.66 zone. And if that gets clear, then yep, potentially we could consider a further move north. But still, there are a few levels to watch here, but it could be the first step to examine higher levels. AUDNZD. AUDNZD, here we have a nice break of the downside line, the one that I talked about, and I said to you that if we stay above this barrier right here, the 1.0758, then yep, my next target is the 1.0793, and this is exactly what I'm aiming for right now. So let's see if we can reach that. I'm not dragging this one way too much to the upside. I want to see how it behaves near this barrier, near this 1.0793, because as you can see previously, it acted as a fantastic area of resistance, although we had these overshoots, but neither of the daily candles managed to end above it. So keep that in mind. AUDJPY, very quickly on this one. To be honest, I mean, I've talked about this this one a lot this week, and basically for now it's coiling up. I mean, for now it's getting squeezed, and you can see that. And to be honest, I mean, this seems to be preparing for a nice move either way. I mean, at the moment it's unclear, but once we get a clear break through one of these lines here, either the downside one or the upside one, maybe then we could consider, like I said, the next short-term directional move. I'm not saying that this is going to be a huge explosion, but in a way the trend could get set here. So let's see how that's going to play out. USD CAD. So yesterday, of course, we had the Bank of Canada interest rate decision. To be honest, not many surprises there. Of course, the rate remained the same. So, and you can see here we had a bit of jumping around here on USD CAD, and yep, we kind of saw this this kind of comeback here back above this upside line. So initially we violated it. This upside line is taken from the low the 1st of June, and we violated, and we kind of still, but the bulls managed to push this one back up. So for now, I mean, I'm still sticking to that idea of maybe a little seeing here a possible ascending triangle. These patterns tend to break to the upside, but a confirmation break still would be needed. A push above the 1.2133 territory right here, which is currently the highest. Currently the highest point of June, and if we do clear that, then yes, we could aim for the upside. For the downside, we need to see a break of this upside line and drop lower. But again, if you want to be a little bit more careful, then a drop below the 1.2013 territory would be better to forthcoming lower low. GBPUSD. So GBPUSD is currently stuck still in that little range. So yep, I mean, we cannot really do much. I mean, yes, it's currently sitting below the 21-day EMA. However, this 1.41 territory is doing its job. It's providing good support, and yeah, I mean, if we drop below this, then yes, we could consider lower levels, but we'll be very careful near this upside line taken from the low the 12th of April, because if it holds, then yes, we could see a nice rebound and a push back up. But if it doesn't, then, well, further declines maybe could be possible. But at the moment, I mean, even to get there, we need that drop below the 1.41 territory. Euro Aussie. So quick update on this one. Yesterday I talked about this bullish 3 pattern here, because, and also I said that this could be seen as a potential maybe bearish flag here as well. So the bullish 3 right here, yep. And they said that this might be seen as a possible reversal signal, and well, so far this is kind of working out. Don't get me wrong, it's just the beginning of the day. Maybe this will find support somewhere here and then reverse back up, but well, so far it's working out. Let's see if it can drift further south, and let me just adjust one of these levels here. So just bear with me one moment. Let me grab a line. So for the for further declines, for example, what I would need to see here is a drop somewhere below this little territory, right? The 1.5707 zone, because at the same time we would be already placed below the 21-day EMA, and we could then target this 100-day EMA as well, and then we would take it from there. For now, we need to be very careful, although yes, it is indicating that there's a good possibility that we could see a further decline. But well, I mean, a push below this hurdle, at least below this hurdle, would be needed in order to consider a possible move towards this upside line right here, taken from the low the 25th of February. Now EURGBP, finally we got that break here, and we stayed above this downside line, above the 21-day EMA, and yep, all this is now kind of looking a little bit more positive than negative, I would say. So yep, what I'm going to aim here for is this 0.8672 territory marked by the high of the 25th of May, and around here we could also test the 100-day EMA, and that's it. I'm not going to target anything higher because I want to see then how it's going to behave here. If it wants to push through that barrier, then yes, great news. I mean, I'll aim for higher levels, but if it doesn't, I mean, this is EURGBP we're talking about. This one sometimes moves very, very chaotically, and And because, for example, I mean, that's why be very careful, because if suddenly this one starts drifting back below this downside line, then maybe the downside scenario could be back on the table, and then we will start examining the 0.8582 territory, and then yeah, we'll see if it finally see a drop below it. But at the moment, this point in time, I mean, this one's looking a little bit more positive than negative, so especially if it continues to trade above that 21-day EMA. If it does that, then yes, higher levels could be met. And finally, EURUSD. So this one is still stuck. It's still stuck in this little kind of falling channel, falling wedge pattern. And yesterday we saw a break through the upper bound of it, but as you can see, it still ended up being below it. And the daily candle, the body of the daily candle, still ended up being below it. So yep, I mean the downside scenario is not off the table here yet, especially if it drops below the 1.2161 zone. And if it drops below that, then yes, we could consider maybe a larger move lower. However, still something for you to keep in mind that even if it drops below this area, yes, it could drift lower. But for example, if it let me just draw this. If it finds support somewhere near this upside support line, this upside line, the tentative one, of course, but nevertheless an upside line, then, well, I mean, maybe it's not going to be as clear as we thought. So we might see a test of this area and then a rebound and a push higher. So we have seen these scenarios happening. So basically, we'll eventually oscillate just around the 21-day EMA, something like that, and then kind of reverse and push higher. So again, be wary of such scenario, just to keep in mind. And if you want to be a little bit more on the careful side with the downside, then maybe you could wait just for a break of this upside line and then kind of go for the downside, and then yeah, we'll take it from there. Of course, don't get me wrong, we could draw a bunch of tentative lines right here right now, so one of which could be maybe this one, or even actually this one right, not this one, but this one right here. So if you're a little, like I said, if you're a little bit more cautious, but if we do drop below the 1.2161 territory, this of course, like I said, could open the door towards slightly lower levels. But then of course, once we, let's say, if we drift lower, then probably definitely have your stop loss just on a break even, just in case this finds support somewhere around here and then reverses, and so it wouldn't take you out basically. So yeah, keep that in mind. But of course, if it just reverses straight away to the upside earlier and breaks this upper side of the falling wedge channel, wherever you want, depends on how you're going to look at it, then yep, we could see maybe some higher moves earlier. So guys, that's it for this session. I hope you found it useful. Thank you very much for watching and listening. And I can see that you're enjoying yourselves, guys, in the comment box. So yep, that's great, guys. I mean, just I hope you're, it brings more positivity to your day. So you need to always need to start trading with positive head and positive thoughts, and basically, yeah, I mean, that helps a lot, as you probably know yourselves. So yeah, guys, do whatever makes you positive, do whatever helps to make you positive, and that's how you should always approach the markets. So guys, thank you very much for joining in. Join me later on in my traders tea time, 12:30 GMT time. But yep, for now, have a wonderful trading day, stay safe, and I'll see you later. Bye bye.